Hey, all you beautiful people. This is Derek Van Otten, or also known as my initials, DVO, and I am the host of the DVO Show. So thank you guys so much for listening. I can't even begin to tell you how humbling and grateful I am when I run across people that have told me they've been listening to the podcast, that they enjoy it, that they are learning something from it, that they like that it's gotten better as this goes on. I do get nervous every time I hit the record button. Not to be honest with you guys, I still get very nervous, and a lot of work actually goes into this. Doing a little bit of editing, posting it on YouTube. I try to record every episode on video, and editing the podcast before I publish it. So a little bit of work goes into it. A lot of work goes into organizing with my guests that come on. And I want to thank all my guests for coming on. I know their time is so valuable, so I love and appreciate them for spending their time. And I love to hear that from the listeners, they've actually become clients or purchased something from my guests. So, some people reach out to me and say, hey, how do I get a hold of them? So that is so wonderful that I'm able to bring more business into our economy, into our state. So that's really nice. So I appreciate all you guys as well that are reaching out to my guests. I have a whole lineup of upcoming guests coming up. I'm always interacting and meeting new people all the time. People are sending me referrals to go visit, and that's been so great. So I can't wait. It's just sometimes hard to coordinate. Everyone gets so busy, and so coordinating with everyone gets a little tricky, but that's okay. That's just the name of it, and that's okay. So I really hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you guys have feedback for me, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm easy to find. My email is dvanotten@gmail.com. You can also find me at dvanotten on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm everywhere. You can just Google my name and you can probably find me. So I appreciate all feedback that comes my way. I do listen to it, and I do take it in. So thank you guys again for listening. I'm just gonna ask one thing. If you're not subscribed to, please subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to. If you are subscribed, I'd love it if you can share it with someone. Maybe find one of the episodes that you think can correlate and help someone, and maybe have them listen and subscribe too. That'd be very appreciative on my end. I do appreciate everyone. So thank you guys so much. And I can't wait for more shows to come out. In case you guys don't know, I try to video record almost every episode. So not every episode, especially, for example, when I do the mashup of my thoughts, I actually, while I'm doing my coaching or interviews or different things like that, I try to record them. I just try to cut out little sections. And that takes a lot of time. That takes me almost a whole day sometimes. So I don't obviously record those, but they're just kind of snippets. So you can watch every recording I do on YouTube. My YouTube channel is my name, Derek Van Otten. So right there. And I'm on basically almost every podcast platform. So if you've got a Apple iPhone, I'm on Apple Podcasts. If you've got a Samsung phone, Android phone, they've also have a what's it called? Google Podcast app. They just kind of, I think they did that about a year ago. Some of the big name podcast platforms like Stitcher, I'm there. If you listen to Spotify or iHeartRadio, they also have podcasts. I'm there as well. What else? TuneIn also has one. Sometimes Google Home or Amazon Alexa, depends if they want to cooperate, they'll work. You can just say, hey Alexa or hey Google, play the latest episode of the DVO Show on Google Podcasts or on iHeartRadio or on TuneIn. Kind of, like I said, they're kind of tricky, so it just kind of depends what they're up to at the moment if they want to cooperate. So I'm there as well. I'm on all those platforms. So again, thank you guys so much. What I'm going to talk to you guys about today is actually a continuation of the conversation I had on my last episode last week, which was with Vu and Veth, and the title of the episode was Veth's Jerky. And I need to really stop hitting the stop button after my interview, because some of the best stories and the best information from my guests happens after I hit stop and we're just kind of bullshitting a little bit and talking, and And I need to stop doing that because some of the best stories, I maybe have to keep recording and add them at the end of the episode. That might be kind of fun. But anyway, we were kind of talking. I don't remember actually the conversation, but something came out. Something that I had forgotten about. Something that I had kind of tucked down. And I believe it was because it's probably my most embarrassing moment in my life. And I thought I would share that with you guys because I think it's very important that I am transparent with everybody. I don't want to make things seem like they're not, and I want to be transparent. I think it's important. And so some of you that don't know what it is that I do a lot of finance and business coaching, and I help people in different areas in that field. And I don't know if everything comes off seeming gravy, but it wasn't always that way. Right now, my life is really good, and the way the projection of where my life and with my wife and our family, growing family is heading, I'm super excited for our future. But I think it's important to understand a little bit of my past. As you guys know, I've kind of talked about it with my guests. I've also been interviewed on other podcasts, on publications, magazines, and internet sources. And, I don't want to tell my whole story. It'll take forever. Maybe I should write a book one day. I've teased the idea. I don't know if I ever will, but I always think maybe it might be fun to write a book one day about kind of my life. Anyways, so I've tried to be transparent, like I've said, about every detail. And sometimes the timelines don't match up because it's just how the interview's going at the time or something I forget. But like I said, talking with Vuen last week reminded me of something. And right now I'm wasting time because I'm a little hesitant of sharing it with you, but I'm going to. I'm going to share with you guys my most embarrassing moment. So this goes back to, I would say, late 2000, where this happened. And if I can rewind a little bit, I remember going into college, and I just went because that's what I thought you're supposed to do, right? You finish high school and you go to college. And I remember I was going to take computer science as my major. And this is maybe 2000 when I enrolled in my first semester of college in the year 2000, because I graduated in 99, took a semester off, and I believe it was 2000 that I was enrolling in my first semester of college. And talking with my counselor, he said, "What is it that you want to do?" And I said, "I'm not sure, but I don't want to do finance," which is a funny story because that's what I do now. For whatever reason, my imagination, thinking of finance, meant I was going to be sitting in a cubicle with this huge calculator just crunching numbers. I don't know why I pictured that, but I wasn't doing very good math in high school and college, so I said I don't want to do that. And I said, but I do think the money's going to be in computers. I think computers is going to take off. Technology is going to be where it's at. So I took computer science as my major. And I had a hard time keeping up with it. It was just advancing so fast. Remember, this is 2000, 2001, and technology was just advancing so fast I couldn't keep up. And my passion wasn't in technology. It wasn't. I knew it was the future. I knew it was important, but that's not where my heart was. Hindsight, I totally wish I would have invested in technology like Google and Facebook and Apple. Like, I really wish I would have invested in those companies. But anyway, I'm taking courses in college, and as I'm in college, I meet an individual, and I'm going to share his name because he's a mentor of mine, a coach of mine. His name was Rafa Bastidas, and I was introduced to him, and we talked, and he became an agent of mine, and I wanted to work with him a little bit. He was working in finance, and at the same time, I actually started off really well working in finance. I went and got some of my licenses, started doing really well, and I let it get to my head. I got a little bit conceited, and I kind of wasn't working a lot. And at the same time, I was thinking, I don't really want to be going to college anymore. As I was kind of learning, I remember taking a psychology class, and the psychology teacher told everyone, hey, everyone stand up, say your name and what you want to be when you grow up. Now, he didn't word it that way, but it was on that aspect. And I remember last name is Van Otten, so I'm sitting in the back of the class. And everyone's taking their turn going through. And I'm just thinking, what is it that I want to do? And it gets to my turn, I say, hey, my name is Derek. I want to own my own business. And I sit down. And I'm thinking, if I want to own my own business, then why am I taking computer science? I don't really want to do anything here anymore. So I go to my counselor, switch my major from computer science to business management. And then I'm also working with Rafa. And I heard him talk, he was talking to somebody else, and I heard him talking about why would you learn business from professors and teachers who don't run a business? And that just struck a light, like literally like that, like light bulb went off above my head. And I said, yeah, that totally makes sense. So I had a hard time even affording college anyway. I was cash flowing it. I was working full time. I was working like 9 hours a day at my job. I worked from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., sometimes close to midnight. And then I would go home. Sometimes I would go out with my friends, go to the bar, go to the club, and then go home and do homework till like 3 in the morning. Then try to wake up at 7 to make it to some classes. And at the path I was going, I wasn't on track to graduate anytime soon in college. I was maybe 4 years in, still doing generals. I'm like, this is going to take forever to finish this. And I don't even know if I even want to go. So I actually dropped out of college. And I really started thinking, I'm going to start pursuing, my business career. And I quit my job. I'd been there 10 years. I actually quit right after my 10-year anniversary. Quit my job, been there for 10 years. I actually started working there while I was in high school. Quit my job. And I said, I'm going to go get a part-time job and pursue business. So that's what I did. I got a part-time job, and that part-time job, instead of working 4 hours a day, started to become 5 hours, 6 hours a day, because what was happening was I was getting off work and I was going home and I wasn't doing anything. I would watch TV. So I'm kind of like, I'm not anti-TV, but like during the week I'm anti-TV because I just feel like I wasted so much time. Anyway, So I start struggling with my finances because I'm not bringing much money home. I'm living alone. I have a condo. I have a 2-bedroom condo. I'm living alone, and I don't even know if I'm making it paycheck to paycheck at this point. Like, I'm really starting to struggle. But I started making really stupid financial decisions. What I was doing was, I had a credit card with my bank, and I was using that sometimes to kind of make ends, or to go out with my friends. I was using it on a credit card. I was also, I had to get new tires for my car, and I didn't have the money for new tires. So what did I do? I financed new tires. And of course, if I'm going to get new tires, might as well get some new rims, right? That was my thought process. How stupid is that? Anyway, I did that because I can afford the payment. And then one summer, the coolest it would get inside my condo was 88 degrees. That was the coolest. And it was like 105 outside. So I thought, you know what? Let me get new windows, because new windows would eventually appreciate, because I didn't want to live there forever in this condo. I was on the 3rd floor. I didn't want to live there forever. It's just perfect for me though. And so I have him come out, give me a quote on new windows. I say, sure. Do I have the money for new windows? Nope. So what do? Finance new windows. So it takes a couple weeks for them to make the size of my windows and get it installed. Well, a few days before my new windows go to get installed, my air conditioner goes out on me. And I need a new air conditioner. So I say, hey, let me get a new air conditioner. So they give me a quote. Again, do I have the money for a new air conditioner? No, I finance it. But I'll tell you what, my condo was feeling nice and cool, but I'm in debt. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm so embarrassed because I'm trying to be a financial expert, financial advisor, whatever you want to call that I was trying to be. And I'm signing up for these credit cards, for these loans. And at the time, I could make a payment for an air conditioner. I could make a payment for tires. I could make a payment. But together, the tires, the air conditioner, the windows, my bank credit card, I couldn't, and then my mortgage and bills and food, I couldn't make all the payments. And at this time, we're looking at 2008, 2009. This is the economy crashing. So there was a gimmick of a modification loan on your home. And I thought this might be a good idea, where I can modify my mortgage and get lower payments and kind of start over and kind of catch up with everything. So this whole time, I know in my head everything I'm doing is wrong, but I kept doing it. And I kept doing it. And the reason was I wasn't going to my coach, my mentor anymore. I was thinking I can do it. I'll figure it out on my own. And I wasn't asking for help. And I'm behind. I'm getting behind. So I'm doing a modification. It's some gimmick happening in 2008, 2009. And at the same time, I'm dating my now wife, Etna. And we go out we have a nice date. We pull up to my condo, and I'm asking her if she wants to come up. And she was thinking, no, maybe not tonight. She's got to go home to her daughter. And I said, okay, that makes sense. Because at the same time she's telling me that, I'm looking up the stairs, and I can see someone posting something on my door. And I get an empty feeling in my gut. So I walk upstairs. Again, I'm on the 3rd floor. And my friends will remember that are listening. We had some good times up there, guys, for sure. So I get up to my condo, and on my door, taped, is a letter from the mortgage company that my house is going up for auction because I was denied the modification. And I didn't know what to do. I felt like such a loser, for real, because I'm going to be homeless soon. I'm losing my house. Very fortunately, however, I reached out to my parents, and they said I could move back in. So I became, at the time, what they were calling boomerang kids, because you left your parents' house and then you came back. My mom actually was a little more excited about it because she really wasn't loving where I was living. And actually, on one of my episodes titled Stacks It Up with Ryan Roxburgh, he actually was on the 3rd floor with me. He actually lived in a condo with me. And that's how we actually met. But it started kind of going downhill a little bit. It kind of started getting a little ghetto. So my mom was okay with me getting out of there. But man, did that crush my ego. That really crushed my ego. That I thought I was an independent man out on my own. And I had to move back in with my parents. Luckily that was actually a big driving force in my life. But let me come back to that. I'm going to rewind back. At this time, and I'm going to share with you guys right now my most embarrassing moment. A lot of things were happening were very embarrassing. Obviously, me signing up for all these credit cards and loans was very embarrassing because I'm trying to help people with their finance, and I'm doing stupid things. The place I was working part-time, they were great. The company was great. But I was a little embarrassed. I didn't want someone to see me working there. I'm losing my house. It was embarrassing. But the icing on top was how I had to earn money for groceries. Now, what I did was actually what I believe is a good thing. But the reason that I did it for money was what's embarrassing. I know I'm going to keep dragging this out. Sorry, guys. I was donating plasma and blood. Now, I think that's a good thing. I actually did some research on it, and I actually saw how important it was. And to this day, if I was sitting in my office and the Red Cross pulled up in advance and said, hey, there's an emergency, we need blood, I would happily go donate for free blood. But I was doing this for money, to buy groceries basically, to go out with my friends, to have a date. And again, like I said, it's a good cause, but the fact that I'm doing it for money is very embarrassing. And if you've ever been into a clinic, one of those plasma donations or blood donations, you kind of see the people that are there. And I'm not trying to pass judgment at all. Everyone has their own story. Honestly, I don't even care what their story is. But as I looked around, I saw what the majority of people were like. The reason they were doing it, obviously, were different reasons. Some people were probably also struggling, but some of them were doing it for alcohol. Some of them are doing it for drugs. And that's the environment I'm around while I'm doing this. And I hated every minute of it. Even though I actually felt like it was for a good cause and for a good reason. Now, I'm a bigger guy, so they can draw out more blood from me. And the more blood you can donate, the more plasma you can donate, the longer it takes for this process to take. And I'm sitting there on average maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And they pay you can do this twice a week. And they were paying me like $30 each time. So, it was paying me like $60 a week. And that's what I was using to buy groceries. And I actually still have the scar tissue on the inside of my elbow. I've got some scar tissue still there from where they had to poke me with the needles. And it was hard. It was very embarrassing. And the last time I did it was the most embarrassing time. Again, it takes 45 minutes to an hour to draw out my blood. And so what I would try to do to speed up the process is I would try to drink a lot of cold water. It would kind of help thin out the blood a little bit so it would draw out faster. And for whatever day, this particular day, it was taking a little bit extra time. It was taking extra time, and man, did I have to piss. Okay, like I said, I'm drinking cold water to help speed the process. And I gotta piss, and I'm holding it, and I'm actually starting to squirm because you're laying down in this bed, and I'm kind of squirming a little bit. And while I'm doing that, what I'm doing is I'm starting to clench, and the needle's kind of digging in, which is not good, okay? And it's hurting, and I'm like clenching, and finally, I piss myself in this bed. And you're in a room of like 30, 40 people. And you're all just kind of facing each other because everyone's just laying in these beds looking at each other. I would always usually have an iPad and read something or watch a movie or something. The embarrassing thing wasn't... Okay, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. No one saw it, though. No one saw it because, like I said, I had an iPad in my hand. I covered myself up. When I was finally done, the nurse came over and, she didn't see. No one saw. But it was the most embarrassing. It felt great because I had to go so bad. But it was the most embarrassing thing in my life. Again, I don't even know if pissing myself in front of people, even though no one saw, I don't know if that was it, or the fact that I was doing this for money to buy food for my fridge. I don't know. But I don't know what I classify. It just was the most embarrassing time in my life. And that was the last time I did it. I just knew I had to make a change. That was like a defining moment where I said I had to make a change. And even though I say that right now to you guys, this was a defining moment, I have totally forgotten about this. Like I said, this happened in the late 2000s. Like 2009, 2010. I want to say 2009. And I kind of tucked this down. I've totally forgotten about this. And talking with Vuen last week, it just kind of brought it up and reminded me. It sucked. It sucked, and I was just mad at myself the whole time. And I'm so glad I never took a victim mentality to anything. I always knew it was me. I signed those credit cards. I put myself on that phlebotomist bed. And it sucked. And I lost my house. You know what I mean? So, and a funny story, the guy that was helping me with that modification, I guess he was trying to help a lot of people. He didn't help anybody. He actually ended up moving out of the country. So that kind of tells you what I did, just stupid. I did a lot of stupid, and I paid a lot of stupid tax. And so, anyway, going back to going back to my story, moving back with my parents, Edna stuck by me, and I knew she was the one I needed to propose to, and I knew I had to put a ring on it, so that's what I did. We got engaged, and we got married, and we cash flowed it. I was like, that's enough. I'm going to get on track with my finances. I said, that is enough. And so I went back to Rafa, my mentor and coach, and he said this. He said, Derek, you don't have a savings problem. You don't have a debt problem. You have an income problem. And I couldn't deny that. So he's like, Derek, I'm going to help you and get you back on track. But I want you to do something. I want you to work with me again and help other people. You are not the only one. And I knew it. I knew other people were out there struggling. And I knew that I could help them because I went through it. So what I did is I really dove into finances. I started studying. I started getting multiple licenses. I was reading books and listening to podcasts and audiobooks from financial experts. And I found the things that made sense. And I found what would help people. And I knew what helped me because I got out of it. I started making a little extra money part-time working in finance. I started working again. As we got married, we moved into an apartment. We cash flowed our wedding. No debt. We put a down payment on our apartment. When we got married, we moved into an apartment. I got a job at a place nearby. And with my financial background, I moved into their financial department, started making good money. And I started working in finances in the day at a corporation, a huge corporation, one of the largest food corporations in the world. That's where I was working with. And then I was doing finances part-time, being self-employed and helping coach families. And that's when I titled myself a finance coach, because I knew I could talk with people and say, hey, listen, I've been there. I know what you're going through. I can help. You just got to kind of work with me. You have to kind of follow along with what I'm saying. Anyway, that's besides the point. And now today, my wife and I, we bought this beautiful home. In fact, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm recording from my office, my home office. And we just moved it down in the basement because obviously my office was upstairs and the baby's on the way. We're super excited about the baby. And so the baby's taking my old office that was upstairs and I moved down in the basement. But I'm okay with that. Like I mentioned on one of the podcasts that I recorded with my wife, it's a lot cooler down here. So for me, I like it. I have a little bit more privacy. Actually, the office is a little bit bigger down here. I actually have a lot more space. I got new office furniture. I got this cool desk that actually raises and lowers. So if I'm getting tired of sitting, because I do have back problems, I can raise it. In fact, my whole office, I actually went wireless. My office is wireless. So I have a MacBook that shoots wirelessly to my ultra wide monitor. And I can just get a lot of multitask done. So I really love hanging down there. I put some cool lights in here. So I didn't, I don't want to show them now because you won't be able to. I'd have to turn off the light off, but I got some cool colorful lights, some cool plants. Anyway, that's besides the point. I'm really happy where my life is heading now. My wife and I bought this 3-story house. We're totally debt free besides the house. We have now no credit cards. Our cars are newer. We paid them off within 2 years. I just don't want to be in debt anymore. I'm kind of anti-debt. I'm actually a little bit of anti-IRS. Because not only did I have those 4 credit cards I mentioned, the credit card with the bank, the tire company, the HVAC for my air conditioner, the window company, but I also owed money to the IRS. And I'm very fortunate my mom actually helped bail me out of that one. So she lent me some money because, you don't want to mess with the IRS. So she lent me some money and I just paid her back at 0% interest. So thanks again, Mom. I appreciate that. And so today, what I do now is I want to help people. So we have, like I mentioned, if you listen to the podcast with my wife as she came on, we have 4 businesses together today. And 2 of those are in financial services, just because of where my licensing, I had to put my licensing. We have 2 businesses that we do that with. And my life's totally different now than it was in the late 2000s. Actually, we're in the late... this is actually now, okay, I just thought about it. This is 10 years later. I am 10 years later from where I was from my most embarrassing moment of my life. And it's totally different where my life is now. And I'm telling you, I'm so much happier than I've ever been. And I just hope nothing but happiness for you guys that are listening, and because for me it's very important to see people succeed and win. I know I talk a lot about entrepreneurship on my podcast or on my social media posts, but that's just because that's what makes me happy, and that's kind of the people that I kind of hang out with a lot. If you are happy, and I've mentioned this before, if you are happy where you work and you're happy with where your life is, then for me, you're reaching success. And I say continue that. And so, again, I want to be very transparent with everybody to give kind of the timelines of my history and my story. And I probably missed some things too. It's a long story. I don't want to tell you guys everything. But I wanted to share these moments with you because, again, it was brought out last week. And I said, I need to let everyone know. If I'm going to invite you guys into my world, you see my life through social media, through my podcast, through my YouTube channel. And I just want to be upfront with everybody and let everyone know, not everything in my life has gone so great. And that's okay. And if you're going through a slump, that's okay. You need someone to talk to. Hey, I'm here. Feel free to reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to listen. So again, I want to thank all you guys for listening or watching my podcast. It truly means a lot to me. I also have another podcast with my brother where we talk about a lot of other fun topics. It's called Buko Boys. If you didn't know, Buko is a young coconut, and that's the Filipino word for it. It's very delicious, and I love it. So that's why we call ourselves the Buko Boys. And that's just a fun podcast. That's just a fun little hobby that I have. So just so you guys know, that's a fun hobby that I have. Some other fun hobbies that I enjoy is hanging out with my family, going to movies, being outdoors. I don't do as much outdoors as I used to. That's for sure, especially with how busy my schedule gets. It's hard to disconnect sometimes, and I need to do it more. I know that's for sure. And another big thing that I find really fun is paranormal investigating. I love researching the paranormal, whether it's ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. That's fun for me. I don't know if I say they're real or not real, and maybe that's why I find it very fun. I'm looking for the answers myself. So anyway, if I'm being full transparent, that's kind of me. Let me share with you guys what I like. I'm also a little bit of a foodie. I love food. I love trying different food. I'm not scared to try any food. I'm up for it. And again, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you guys. I don't even know when I started this podcast, but I think I'm getting close to 1 year coming up. Anyway, great guests lined up. We're just coordinating times. I've got some great guests, and I'm excited to share that with you guys. So thanks so much for listening. Love you guys. Take care.